Hello everyone, welcome to the ProPokeBowl Season 5, Week number 5. My name is ProPokeBowl, thank you very much for joining me. Tonight we've got 3 more exciting matches for you. We are getting to the middle of the season, which means the points are going to start to show where everybody's going to be aiming for. Are they going for the top 2? Or are they moving the way all the way down to 6? Or are they avoiding the bottom part? My name is ProPokeBowl, thank you very much for coming out. For all of you here participating and watching week by week who have been listening to the ProPokeBowl podcast and who have been keeping up with all the things, you're the real MVP. But of course, there's going to be somebody going home with a trophy, so you're the MVP in spirit. Let's take a look at what the points look like thus far going into week number 5, because it's going to be a doozy if people want to start catching up. That's not the thing. The thing's over here. Where the thing? Oh, that's why. Shh, 1 sec. Let's try that again. Oh, I can't do that unless I go back over here. 1 sec. Let's just one more transition. There we go. Look at all the transitions. Perfect. Okay. Why did you switch though? I'm gonna play on this match. Thank you. Let's take a look at the points thus far. Don't look at the standings because the standings are kind of all messed up with all the buys that we're gonna have to be dealing with. Manchester United with 15 points. Fortnite Ninjas holding 12 points. Traverse City Thunderous 11 points, tied with I Am Groot. Ludo Caselli sitting with a hearty 10 points. Golden State Greninjas at 9. With Ice Cold, Todd Skyrim Howard, and Las Vegas Golden Lucarios all looking to try and get themselves into that top position. And today will be the day they can do it. We have 3 exciting matches for you, which you guys can see by doing exclamation tourney. We'll be starting off with the Las Vegas Golden Lucarios go up against I Am Groot, Traverse City Thunderous, followed by Traverse City Thunderous versus Todd Skyrim Howard. And finally, our featured matchup of the week at the end of the night, Ice Cold versus the Golden State Greninjas. Now, I do need to preface this with something really quickly, as we do have more news coming out. That's not the news music. That's the news music. I'll take that. One, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been having some allergy issues lately. I've been having a little bit more problems with my throat, so anything in terms of phlegm and things like that, you can already hear I'm having problems talking. So, luckily for us, it's a shorter night, but if I'm not as hype, understand that I've been having a little bit of a throat problem, thingamajig. Yes. Unfortunately, tonight will be the last night that Todd Skyrim Howard participates in the ProPokeBowl. He has informed me that life is gotten to the point where he is not able to manage both, so he will be bowing out of the tournament, which means his team will be available as of week 6. You'll be able to put in your trades right away, as well as, put that in the sheet once I sign that off tonight for all of you to fill out. However, if he does battle tonight, we'll be going up against Traverse City Thunderous. Otherwise, it will be a 2-0 bye going over to Sharking. But that's not what we're talking about right now. What we need to talk about is the first match of the night, which is I Am Groot versus Las Vegas Golden Lucarios. It will be Sweet D versus Coma. This one's going to be a spicy one, similar to how we compared this last time when it came down to Coma versus Mitchie of the Fortnite Ninjas. It was very difficult for us to look at Coma and go, this is going to be a simple matchup, whereas it's going to come down to a lot of theorizing in the end when you look at just the vast difference in skill. However, it doesn't look all bad for Coma. His matchups and with the Pokemon he's brought on, he has brought on Celebi for this weekend for the remainder of his tournament. So Celebi will be a nice way to try and handle the Suicune the best that it can. But the question is that we've had for Coma throughout this entire season, are we going to actually see any sort of moveset that is going to be able to manage his opponent? Because at this point, we have been a little bit let down with the stuff. We've seen glimpses, we've seen greatness, and then the greatness flattens like a deflated balloon. So we need to now figure out if he has figured out the formula to beat I Am Groot. On the side of the I Am Groot, you know, he banned out that Lopunny, didn't want to deal with it. Lopunny would have done a fair amount if it got away with just being able to do a bunch of damage. Losing a Superior for the week was a bit of a hit, but nonetheless, should have a fairly easy time with being able to use the Terrakion mix with something along the lines of the Lycanroc. Using his defensive core to the best of his abilities, as long as the Scizor is managed, we don't see many issues that Sweet D would have to worry about. So yeah, there's not really much to analyze about this. We have been tracking. I Am Groot has been off for a week, but we have been tracking to see what the progress for Las Vegas Golden Lucario's has been. It is not all bad for Las Vegas because they can make it up to the top. They can still make it into at least top 6. They're not going to be hitting top 2 anytime soon. The points are a little too far for them deep in the tournament already, but there is still a potential for them to be able to go over Ice Cold and Golden State Greninjas, and even potentially Lunar Cresselia, as we've seen that there's been a little bit of a plateau for the Lunar Cresselia in terms of skill at least. Whether he's gaining points or not, it hasn't looked the cleanest as it did in the preseason. So, despite getting that cheesy kill against Traverse City Thunderous, Las Vegas Golden Lucario could look at this as an opportunity to try and steal at least the 5th or the 6th seed to get himself into the playoffs for the first time ever. I think with that, we're just gonna let the battle speak because, you know, I don't know if there's much more to say considering that I'm just waiting. It's just gonna really come down to an execution thing here. If it's not executed properly, you are going to see things just collapse really quickly for the side of eventual Coma. But I believe in him, so why don't we just believe in him? Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting to the first series of the night between the Las Vegas Golden Lucarios on the close side. I am Groot on the far side. Let's take a quick look at these teams. That is a lot of bulk coming out from the side of Sweet D, as that's going to be able to manage a lot of the things that he might be trying to fear from the likes of the Scizor and the Celebi, along with the Tapu Fini. So looking like he's got a fair amount of answers with moves and typings that will be able to handle a lot of the sweeping potential. So, on the side of Coma, still seeing that same strat that Klefski's going to be looking to try and stack some hazards. Kofagrigus and Snorlax trying to come in and do as much damage as possible, but we're really going to be looking at that Celebi and that Scizor. How much effectiveness can he find from getting his Pokemon into it to setting up everything? It will be the Hippowdon versus the Klefki lead. The Toxic will be fired off, so the Earthquake's going to go through. That's a lot of damage already done to Klefki, and we've seen Klefki have good moments, but most times the way that it's been treated is just set up something and then just die, whereas the potential that you could see from this Pokemon with Prankster has been arguably squandered for quite some time now. A layer of spikes will be set up in the face of potentially 2 Pokemon that could have Defog, as the Hippowdon will shove the keys down into the fissure. But now we do see the Fini come in. This is not too bad. Does have to worry a little bit about a Toxic, but he does also want to stay in there for the side of I am Groot. So the Crobat will make its way in on the Fini. The Z-Power's coming out as Acid Downpour. That is going to be the likes of a Cross Poison being boosted but doesn't get the kill. And already we see some spicy stuff, as yes, Fini has been brought down super low, but barely lives the Acid Downpour and fires off his own beam to take the Crobat down. That is some good information going in to game number 2, because that means that Sweet D was hoping to get that damage down. If he sees that coming again, Coma should have an expectation with trying to be able to send in that Scizor. We see the mist come out, and the Moonblast will take the Terrakion. Oh man, it is not a game with Diego or Sweet D until you see really bad hacks, and the Blissey now has to come in. Although arguably you could have said Blissey could have come in to begin with to tank the hit and be able just to go for the seismic toss, and it will just do exactly that, but at the cost of a Terrakion. Yes, you get the initiative by keeping the Terrakion in. You know there's going to be a slight grin on both coaches' teams, because that's the way it happens. But nonetheless, Snorlax is going to come in on the Blissey. Blissey's not going to be having a great time trying to seismic toss this big gluttonous, you know, I don't know, gruesome. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Either way, the curse will happen. Now, assuming that Hippowdon is physically defensive, because that's what it's really good at, and most likely has Whirlwind, the Snorlax is going to have to do the best it can here. It's just going to go for the Earthquake, as the Whirlwind does fly out. Now, the Earthquake, an odd choice if it had a normal move, because normal move would have done more damage, but we know that Coma has been running a lot of coverage on his Snorlax. And as a result, that is probably going to be the strongest move you can go for. The Giga Drain comes out for the Celebi onto the Blissey. It's still feeling super safe for the side of I Am Groot. As long as they can manage and get that Suicune in safely and the Celebi's taken out, he should be fine with being able to finish this off in a calm fashion. Just being able to set up and wipe everything out here. The Heal Bell will happen, which will cure the poison off of the Hippowdon. The Leech Seed is going to be pretty nice here on the Blissey, as that will actually provide a lot of healing, considering it's 13% of the Pokemon affected. So, you know, you send in someone that's hurt, that Pokemon is going to be nourished very well. He continues to stay in here as the Soft Boil does come out. He's just trying to get his Blissey into a decent amount of spot here, despite the -1 special defense drop. But nonetheless, if he starts getting damage down, I mean, if the Celebi is carrying leftovers, this could be a little problematic. Have we seen it? I don't know if we actually saw it. I feel silly. We know an item exists, but it wasn't that. But we do see the Suicune come in on the Scizor switch as well. And you don't want Scizor necessarily sitting out here because, yes, you could go for it, but the substitute will happen as the Swords Dance does come out. It's almost like a game of chicken. Who's going to get through their stuff first? Because these are the win conditions. Bullet Punch will come through and we'll be able to break the sub. But if this gets the burn, this is bad for Golden Lucario. He doesn't actually end up getting burned. Suicune is exposed, but it shouldn't be worried too much. These things generally run max defense. And he is going to end up going for the Bullet Punch once again. He is playing with fire right now, but he hasn't gotten burned yet. Las Vegas, called RNGesus, trying to hope for the best that he can, try and get this thing down low. But you got to be questioning, what is on this Suicune? We've seen Substitute, we've seen Protect, we've seen different moves here to be able to keep this thing safe. If that Substitute was supposed to be able to keep it safe from being swept, what more can we expect? The +2 Bug Bite comes out, and that is a ton of damage Gastrodon didn't want to take. The Bullet Punch will take it down. Coma is chipping away at the tree. As Blissey now has to come in, doesn't take the hit, it's taken down too. It's 4-2, the +2 is wrecking. I am Groot right now. Those scissor hands aren't for cup and paper, they're for taking Forest down. As now Sweet Tea has to figure out that Paladin should be, if it can take the hit, it will be able to go for the Whirlwind, but he's still got 3 more Pokemon to deal with, and the Celebi is still alive against the Suicune. And even with that miss on the Tapu Fini, yes, you would have wanted your Terrakion alive, because that speed would have been nice to take stuff out, but at this point he has to deal with it as the Powdon's taken down, and it's Suicune versus the world. Comes in on a spike with +2 Bug Bite, actually take it down. The burn does come, not day, and Las Vegas go to the oh my god. You know, I didn't even want to hype it up, but Las Vegas Golden Lucarios has taken a game off of I Am Groot. Oh, you have no idea how long my day has been, and I needed that. Wow. I don't get it. I don't get it. What I do get is Scizor did a lot of work there, because it wasn't handled. Oh, okay. What am I supposed to say? Yeah, the Terrakion miss sucked because he lost his entire Terrakion. Terrakion could have done a bunch of damage. After all those skulls, the Terrakion would have come in and gone for close combat to take out the Mega Scizor, but it's still to worry about a +2 Swords Dance. The setup war goes to Coma, and that's gonna be, you know, that affects the top of the standings way more than it affects the bottom of the standings, because if Coma could take the 2-0 here, not only will Coma have been taken down, one of the most seasoned veterans in ProPokeBowl, but it would be quite possibly one of the biggest upsets, similar to how we were looking with the Fortnite Ninjas. So I think he's done a phenomenal job here getting that sweep at the right time, because really, it looked like once he got the +2, the damage that he did with Bug Bite, the fact that he has Bug Bite and not U-Turn is actually incredibly important, because now he gets to stay in with the Technician boost, and he's doing so much damage to all the walls that Sweet Tea brought, and then Bullet Punch handles the rest of the Pokemon. So literally, that Scizor is going to be having a great time as long as it's set up like that, and the Celebi just says no to the Suicune. This is great. Those two Pokemon have literally, like, bringing in Celebi this week. We know Coma has gone on record saying he needed a better grass Pokemon. He needed a better core. And he's found it. Now, can I Am Groot answer this? Yes. Let's actually take a look at the damage calculation here. I want to see that Crobat versus the Tapu Fini. Because if that Acid Downpour was supposed to get the kill, that would make more sense. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, the Acid Downpour is a 92 to 108%. So it is as much chance that it lives as it dies. So it was a coin flip when it came down to how much damage. Actually, technically, it was slightly in favor of killing it. But he rolled I'm going to get roll and low in the same sentence correct. He rolled the lowest possible damage calculation that he could. But here's the thing, though. Now he knows that's coming. Coma got super lucky with not seeing that Pokemon die. What does this mean now for game number 2? Will he play around it? Because that Acid Downpour also threatens the likes of the Celebi. But he carries the Scizor on him, and knowing what Crobat could do, Defog, U-Turn, Brave Bird, now it's got the Poison attack, so it means it's lacking something else that it would generally run, like Taunt or some stuff of the sort. Does Scizor now have to be used to predict that Poison attack? Because Poisonium C will not affect the likes of Scizor. So Getting lucky, getting the kill, getting the miss helped him out, and here's the best part, is Koma still has that knowledge, and he can go to game number 2, and he can use that to play around it, right? And if he can show that, then I think it's a well-earned 2-0. 1-0 still well-earned, got the scissor in, got not lucky, but he got the setup, and then he was able to put all the damage down on the side of I Am Groot. But he has to be able to use that knowledge effectively. Really. He's gonna have to put that to good work, because if he could do that again, like if he takes a 2-0 tonight, Koma will upset the balance of the universe, because it's a very small chance, but like I said, it's not an impossible chance, and it does have really big implications for the bottom 3 players, because that means now the pressure, they're fighting amongst each other to get points, and if it goes the way of 2-0 Las Vegas Golden Lucarios, the people who were just barely above him now have to scrape and have harder schedules to try and take points to try and take him out of the top 6. And that would be a story and a half for this tourney. That would be an astounding story for this tourney. But can he do it? We've seen it before. We've seen Koma take some really good things. But the question is, will he be able to replicate it? Because we need consistency. It's not about getting the best of 1. It's about getting the series of 2. Game number 2, Las Vegas Golden Lucarios going in with a good victory over I Am Groot. We do see that Honchkrow coming in, so another answer to that Celebi and a Brave Bird for Scizor. This is a good switch out for the side of Sweet D. Can he make it work this time? We saw that going super bulky with the likes of the Suicune wasn't going to do it, so the Klefki versus the Apollon, we've seen the same old song and dance before. The Toxic could do the same thing, but you gotta remember, there is that Heal Bell. He opts instead this time to go for the Spike, so trying to just, rather than getting the Hippowdon handled, he wants to try and get the damage down. The problem is his Defogger is Flying type, so it's not going to be affected, and it should feel pretty safe switching in. And especially since we know the likes of the Crobat can come in no problem, the Whirlwind is going to fly out knowing that Sweet D can probably see it coming, doesn't have to worry about taking the damage. The Swords Dance is going to come in, but the Earthquake is going to come out, and the damage that he can get down onto Mega Scizor is a big deal. We didn't get to see the full move set. There is one more move as this thing is taken out. One shot with the critical hit, and this is already looking bad for I Am Groot, the cursed person in this tournament, apparently. Because now that he can't do the damage, the Pokemon that have to come in have to be able to take the hits. Now, he still can't chip it away. I have a hard time believing a +2 Bullet Punch will take out both Crobat and the Honchkrow, but if it does happen, I'm pretty sure the Gastrodon can take the hit. Another critical hit! The double! He has literally taken his Pokemon soul and has sold it to RN God. He skipped over RN Jesus. He's on RN heaven. The luck that Las Vegas is getting right now is going to throw the balance off. If this truly happens, this will be an enormous and unpredictable upset, because yes, he is doing it correctly, but the crits make it so much more difficult to digest it for the side of I Am Groot. He is going to be sitting on the bench going, I did everything right. Why? But now he's got to answer this. What does he have left? He's killed off 2 Pokemon. Like I said, I have a hard time believing Honchkrow dies. It is going to come in now and prove that. The +2 Bullet Punch should not kill. I think a Brave Bird plus Sucker Punch will definitely take this out. I don't know if Brave Bird will actually take it out from here unless it's like banded. Maybe Life Orb Brave Bird would do it, but I'm not sure. The Z-move comes in though, and it will be Black Hole Eclipse. How much damage will this actually be doing? It doesn't do enough as the Bug Bite comes out. It's a one-shot. Oh my god. Crobat comes in. Can it take the Bullet Punch? It can definitely take the Bullet Punch. Okay, so the Sweeper is gone, but the damage has been done. This Crobat has saved the game for being a straight sweep. And it's 4-3, but the Kofagrigus is untouched, and Kofagrigus is not gonna, Terrakial is not gonna like the Kofagrigus. So now, does he set up a Trick Room? Does he just attack? Does he take this thing out? What is gonna be the play here? We don't know the full moveset on this Crobat. It will go for the Roost, but if we see this thing start to set up, the Shadow Ball will come out, brings it barely down, but that means that it's gonna be a slow stall here. He knows he's taking just barely enough damage from the Shadow Ball to be able to eke out some things, but that special defense drop means he can't stay in, because he will be taken down as the Will-O-Wisp comes out. What a good play by Koma, actually seen that it could just be a stall with that special defense drop. That does mean he has to handle it. He does get the 20% burn, though, on the Blissey, unless that thing just got the 10% because it's running Natural Cure. But the thing is, they're both burned. The burns don't matter on most because the heal ball is going to come in, and ProPokeBowl doesn't really care about the burn. But here's the thing, though. We don't want to see this from Coma. Coma has done this before, where he's overstayed his welcome. As the Snorlax now makes its way in, the Flamethrower will come on. A burn would be really terrible, but it didn't end up happening. As now Terrakion will make its way in, and he does go for the Curse. Now, can he take the stock close combat? The answer is no. It is Destruction on the side of Las Vegas, but now the ProPokeBowl comes in. The Blissey is the answer. It's not complete, like we said. It's not completely over. The Shadow Ball is going to come in. An odd play, considering that he knew that this most likely would be the switch to come in now. And here we go. The Selby now has to make its way in. Softball will come in. This Blissey is stopping everything from hurting it, as the Flamethrower will now come out. Doesn't matter because Natural Cure, but as you can see, the healing from Leech Seed on a Blissey is very oppressive, considering not to be doing that much damage. Now you can just try and go for the special defense drops, because that doesn't matter about that seismic toss. He's healing off -3%, but nonetheless, now the Crobat has to come in, take the damage that's going to be taken down, which will give a free switch into that Terrakion. Terrakion does get access to X-Scissor. Will he fall for the bait? He will indeed! The Celebi is taken down, and now Feeny has to do it all. If Feeny is left alone with that Terrakion, it's going to be dastardly, as now the Combine will happen. This does not have a status move on it, so he's just going to keep setting up. But he has to be careful. He doesn't want to take too much damage here because Stone Edge can still take, Rock Slide can still take out the Feeny. So he has to make sure he doesn't get too greedy with it. But at the same time, because he's dealing with Blissey, he has to play a bit of game of chicken. Does he set up? Does he go for the attacks? He can keep spamming out attacks. Yes, the Moonblast is doing a lot, but he's got to remember, he's only got leftovers healing that we've seen. We haven't seen anything else come out from it. Now he just knows he has to take all of this damage. The Softball will come in. But here's the thing. If that thing's getting outspeed, it's gonna be dangerous. And because he can lock himself, and because I Am Groot can lock himself into a rock move against the ProPokeBowl, doesn't have to worry about getting blocked with the likes of the close combat. So here we go, +4 for the Tapu Fini. This is still Coma's game to win, as he is almost breaking that 50% mark to be able to put pressure down on the Blissey. He's got to break at least 56. Now he goes for the Ice Beam. He's looking for the freeze. He doesn't get it. I don't know about that one, because now he loses Feeny, and it's down to the ProPokeBowl. It is burned, but it has a leftover, so he'll be able to nullify it. But I don't know what this thing could do to him, because if it doesn't have Nasty Plot, it can't finish off the Terrakion. Terrakion will be able to kill it off before anything else. All Sweet Tea needs to do is get the damage down, try and finish it. Will-O-Wisp means nothing, and he has lost the pressure with all the Pokemon being done, maybe not remembering that X-Scissor could indeed be on the Terrakion. And as a result, man, we've seen it. Staying in too long has been the name of this series, been the name of this tournament thus far in Season 5. But at the end of the day, the nurse itself will patch up that Game 1 loss and reward I Am Groot Game number 2 victory, a 1-1 on the week for both. There was a higher power on the side of Las Vegas Golden Lucario's team this time. But in the end, doesn't have the thing to set up on Blissey. If he had Nasty Plot on that Pokemon, he'd be able to do a little bit more. One has to question, though, how much of that was the pressure taken from the side of Las Vegas Golden Lucario's? How well did they actually do it with the crits? The answer is, still played it out the way you'd want to see it. But you saw in Game 2, that's been the consistent thing that we've been worried about, where he has stayed in too long on the mat. He has stayed in too long on a Pokemon where it's just not going to get any value. And as a result, you see the fall of the Golden Lucarios. But for I Am Groot, sigh of relief. Don't want to be dropping 3 points ever, especially when you're trying to vie for the top 2. And every point's going to matter. And with those 2 points lost tonight, that could be a really big deal depending on what happens with the rest of his schedule. But nonetheless, actually this was game number 2. What am I saying? Oh well. Yeah, that's going to be the 1-1. We're going to take a very short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, it will be potentially Traverse City Thunderous versus Todd Skyrim Howard. You're watching the ProPokeBowl. See you soon. Welcome back to the Pro Pokeball Season 5, week number 5. We're going to be looking at our second series of the night, depending on if it happens or not. The Traverse City Thunderous, Coach Sharking versus Todd Skyrim Howard, Coach Soda Dude. Even though Soda Dude will be bowing out after this week, we still need to take a look at what this matchup would look like if they both played. Funnily enough, Gamma and I were talking and kind of joking around on the Pro Poke podcast, thinking about the likes of what it would look like if it came down to the Dancer or a choreo making work happen, because the Gyarados was banned, and then we see Volcarona, or sorry, which one was banned officially this week? I'm pretty sure it was, the Gyarados was banned. So, Volcarona Quiver Dance, Dancer copies dance moves, so, you know, Oricorio also gets to do a little bit of a wee dance, and could do a lot if it brought a moveset to handle it. But nonetheless, we found this actually be a very interesting matchup. Despite the fact that the skill might not be around the same level, I still firmly believe that if Todd Skyrim Howard brings a team that would be able to manage the sweepers on the side of TC Thunderous, might be able to get his own setup here. He did bring in the Durant just for this week, getting rid of the Premier and bringing in a much faster Pokemon, which would be able to give him that more offensive, speedy power. Despite the fact he's been running Trick Room, still more looking like he could just run a really fast team and not actually run it in Trick Room. Of the two Trick Room users, I do give Ice Cold the upper hand in building a better team around it, and still being able to be flexible outside of it. With Soto Dude's team, it felt more fractured, but being able to bring in the Kingdra, bringing in the Durant, having this really cool team to play could mean a lot more offensive momentum for him. And on top of that, with all of the speed, he can actually use his defensive Pokemon as just that, not having to worry about, he's never getting Dragonite. He's just never going to be able to use Dragonite. But his defensive Pokemon can actually go and use more defensive moves to try and get himself an advantage. But aside Traverse City Thunders, we saw him lose a match last week. Scarf Moo, it's got to be the talk of the entire tournament for them, but nonetheless, ate some steak, felt comfortable again, asserted domination. He's looking to take another 2-0 this week. He's trying to stay at the top of the standings. It's important to grab every point here. And we really saw that it was a clinical example, despite the fact that it was kind of a cheesy one-off sort of moveset that managed it quite a bit, that kind of just threw off Sharky, threw off all of us, let's be honest. We saw what happens when the offensive team, the hyper-aggressive team, doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do, which is use a lot of momentum to then get the sweep off. Because if the sweep doesn't happen, then nothing's ever going to happen, because you can ram your face as much as you want, but if he has bulky Pokemon, sure, right? That's why we saw the Aggron coming in. The Alolan Muck with the Aggron is a disgusting combination, right? Trying to find more of those Pokemon, the Starmie coming in, which can still be run a little bit defensively as well. You know, Alolan Ninetales trying to get up that Aurora Veil, despite the fact not using it. We questioned the Haunter, but what we really wanted to question is if he's going to be able to, tank out the hits and then get the proper Pokemon into sweep. We've seen struggles with that. We've also seen contestation, and this is what we generally see in the Pro Pokeball when we're talking about the likes of how defensive cores dictate the game, because you are only able to choose from so many Pokemon. You can't just choose the best wall breakers out of the tiers that you go from. So if you grab a really good core, and then your sweepers can kind of find their way in as long as your walls are doing a lot of work against your opponent. For Sharking, he's gone the opposite way, where it's like, well, here are my defensive core, but it's really on how much damage I can spread before getting my ultimate sweeper in and taking the entire match out by storm. So I'm curious to see if it is going to happen that way. If we do end up having the match tonight. We're only giving him to 5 minutes. I have a feeling he has not answered me, has also not submitted anything, so we will have to potentially call that a 2-0 for Sharking and then move on. For those who are curious, with the departure of Soto Dude, it does not actually affect the next week's matches. All 8 players play, believe it or not. We do have 4 matches next week. But what I'm going to try and do is, depending on what we can finagle, I'm going to try and move matches up if it's possible to have certain things, like certain people play on certain days, so that we can potentially get the tournament done slightly earlier. I'm not too sure. I have to go look at the numbers. I have to look at the schedule. And if that's the case, then I will announce additional matches just so we can keep people as engaged as possible. Just as a reminder, all we need is a minimum of 7 coaches to make the tournament work, so losing a third coach, putting us down to 8, is unfortunate, but it is still a runnable tournament, still valid for becoming a champion. Shoutouts to Daggerdrome in Season 1. But we still have a runnable tournament, so it's not the worst. It could be worse, but the tournament's still going, and as long as we are getting that show moving on, I'm not truly concerned. Also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you see that wonderful hat in the back here and you'd like to be able to purchase your own, make sure to do exclamation support in chat. Go over to the merch store, buy yourself some fantastic merch. We got a ProPokeBowl shirt up there, as well as a lot of other ProPokeDoo merch. If you're excited about that, go get that. It is high quality, high octane, pure energy. This actually increases your professionalism and your noob-professionalism. Noob-professionalism? I got there. By about 47.9%. If we'd got 48%, it wouldn't be very professional. Gotta keep it in the fractions. Why? It's not actually a fraction, it's decimal. But you know why? Because we stayed a brand here. Syedge said it perfectly. By the way, good to see you, Syedge. Good to see you, everybody in chat. It's also time here to talk to our fellow chatters. How are we doing tonight, chat? The low roll? No, you can't low the roll list if you wanted to. You just have to be able to do that. You're wrong. It's a rice doling situation. Thank you very much, Syedge. But you know, Sai once said a great thing about me, and I've kept that to this day, where I am the pro of the noob. So if we had anything that actually worked, well, I mean, one day I would like to have things that worked, but there's always got to be a little touch. That's why the 0.9% is put into this. But you know how much love is put into this? Just to keep it on brand, 99.98% love. With every purchase of a hat. Or a mug. I still have to figure out why the mug's not showing up in it. What's happening, Tyler Poke? I missed what you're saying. No, we're not doing replacement coaches anymore. It's too messy. Too much to switch the information. I'd rather just drop it. He's most likely... Yeah, I've talked... I hit him up with a message before, World Leader, but he wasn't answering. So, that's why we're going to try and just do... That's why we're just going to try and build a schedule that'll add more people to each battle week, because I'm going to be honest with you, he did not submit. What was I gonna say? Because honestly, my throat's been really killing me since we do this ProPokeBowl. My throat hasn't been as strong this season, so I am going to be implementing some ways to try and keep my throat a little bit safer and a little bit healthier. But I don't mind having less battles, but if we're able to put extra battles throughout the weeks, and there's just a couple of buys near the end of the season, it's not too bad then. I would like to get in at least 4 matches. 3 matches are a little slow, but nonetheless, we'll still make it work the best that we can. With that, though, I think we're just going to drop the Sotodube versus Sharking. I'm very sorry about that, Sharking. It was an unforeseen surprise to me, so, you know, I did not actually see this coming. This has never happened before. Shout out to all speedrun excuses you could give. But you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take some time here to give you some voting, because... Actually, no, we gotta do 9 minutes. Actually, I'll just change the voting time. But this means that I could be live and talk to you guys about the betting between our final match of the day, the final match, the finest of matches, the feature matchup that myself and Amagama have chosen. It is going to be Ice Cold versus Golden State Greninjas. Hold on, let me just get this ready. All you gotta do is exclamation bet in chat with the option that you want and how many Nubits you want to put onto it. You will have 7 minutes, as much time as we're gonna be spending on this analysis, to talk about and figure out what's gonna be happening with what we can expect out of this tourney, or out of this series, because really, I'm looking forward to this one. There is a crab on the side of Ice Cold that is looking particularly tasty, and by tasty, it's actually hungry, because Golden State is going to go try and take a bite out of this crab. They're going to be like, no, and then punch it out, and just take out a person who hangs out in the dark, who happens to be a frog. And they has to go home to his mom and explain how he got beat up by a crab named Crabominable. Crabominable destroys the Golden State Greninjas team. So if he brings it out in the first series here of the week, or sorry, of this week, he's looking pretty. I thought I clicked the on button. Damn it. Hold on. Look at that. There we go. But in all seriousness, let's talk about this while you guys are doing your bets. You can bet up to 50. You can bet up to 30,000 Nubits. have some fun with that. So let's try and figure this out. So we have Initiator and we have World Leader. World Leader, the adopted son that Gamma and I have now done. World Leader, sorry, you have no say in this. But we have basically adopted you as the coach to watch. Considering the upswing of what he's been showing in the past 2 to 3 weeks has been phenomenal. He has been pulling out all the... He hasn't been just restraining himself at all. He is just going all out with this team at 12. Hasn't made a trade yet, and he is making this team work for him. Fantastic defensive options. He is bringing out that super offensive Pokemon, and he hasn't lost speed yet. Yes, he's dropped a game here and there, but the nice thing is, it's really showing that World Leader has adapted faster than any other season, and it's such a great story to look at, because World Leader is definitely what I would consider to be that slightly above average, the middle of the tier players. This is a top 6 player. He can make it in if he has the team and he has the strategies. The difference is, most times it would take him too late into the tournament, and once he's figured out what he's doing, he didn't have enough points. Now, however, he started in the beginning of the tournament. Now we're near the end of the tournament with all these buys. So, if he can continue to take points here and there and continue to try and put pressure to go over everybody else, he will be a very good candidate for top 6. Maybe not top 2, because there would have to be a lot of situations that would get him there, because he's pretty much behind like 2 or 3 2-0 series, so you'd have to be taking down the people above him. But it's not impossible. It's just the likelihood of it happening is less than what we could expect. We might see 1-1s, we might see 2-0s against a couple of coaches that are remaining, but otherwise, he has been doing really well for himself, and it's been fantastic to watch. Now, the other side with Ice Cold, Initiator, new person coming into the ProPokeBowl. He has built a Trick Room team, and honestly, it's the best Trick Room team we've seen so far. There have been people who have played it in the past, but I've really been liking what he's been trying to do. We do have to talk about, however, the newest addition to this team, and that's Heatran. Heatran being pulled from the disqualified Sarasota Suicunes onto the side of Ice Cold. This is going to be a big deal. Unfortunately, Moltres is stuck there, so he actually has lost a slot, in my opinion, to have both those Pokemon on the team. But he does have another fire option if he really needs it, so it's not the worst. But this does imply that now he's got just another fantastic defensive Pokemon that he can run offensively. And it's options, right? The options are what Initiator's been doing well with, playing inside Trick Room, playing outside of Trick Room, just trying to make things work, and to varying levels of success. You can see with the usage there on our screen, he hasn't played a lot of matches, this is why his usage overall has been low, but you can see with the Pokemon that did work, the Ferrothorn, the Slowbro, the Mesprit, Crabominable, the Mimikyu at the time, and the Kyurem at the time, right? You can see that this was built to be Trick Room. And now, if you were to take the same core of Ferrothorn, Slowbro, and now we throw in a Heatran, now we've got the likes of Hydreigon, we've got the likes of Crabominable still showing its worth. There are a lot of things now that I think his team has done better. The Groudon is still a little bit of an unfortunate thing that happened, but Initiator has really been the one who's been using the trades to his advantage to try and build himself a team that is getting more identity and trying to work more within things. So now we'll have to see, with this Heatran, with this Ferrothorn, with all of these Pokemon, what are we expecting? Who is going to benefit from this? Is it Golden State Greninjas who has figured out the flow of their team and has figured out a battle strategy that's working for them, and being able to play off knowing the predictability of the coaches that he's going up against and taking the points down, using just not caring that he's throwing random moves on because the random moves are actually working, you know? Is he pulling an effective Ivan? Or is Ice Cold going to show through these trades that now he's built himself a really solid core that's just going to do a bunch of damage to teams? And if he got the opportunity to play against others, you know what? Honestly, I wish this was a double round robin. I wanted to do a tournament with double round robin, but it's too long and there's too much commitment to ask out of the coaches. Because if we could do a double round robin, I would love to see this team go up against his former opponents. Because I want to see Inish from the beginning. Now that he has access, he wouldn't have gotten this team in the very beginning, right? You wouldn't have not seen him with Hydreigon and Heatran, and then insert other UU Pokemon. Maybe it's just Groudon, but you would not see him with the same team. And I don't think you'd see him with the same success. I think he'd be doing much better with these, showing that his team is actually just terrifying. He's got good Pokemon for their roles. And I'd really like to see what he would do against his opponents if he was given the opportunity to use these Pokemon on his team, right? Not be stuck with the Kyurem, which was uninspiring. The Mimikyu, which just didn't seem to play to what he wanted to get done, right? The Groudon, which he just never considered using. He actually got rid of it in week 2. But if he was able to bring out this Defogger, if he's able to bring in this Heatran, which could do pretty much anything you wanted to do, the Hydreigon, the offensive monstrosity that also carries Defog, would this make things different? And would Initiator actually have changed our minds of being not this person who's kind of, I don't want to say scraping for top 6, because Initiator has the skill to make it to top 6. It's just the fact that he hasn't played a lot of games, and the games that he has played, he hasn't brought success with it yet. But because he's been doing this building on his time off, we can't really talk to the success that he will have now, because now with these Pokemon, we need to see the dynamic of what his team looks like. You know, what's the construction of the things. Wow, we actually talked through 15 minutes of that song? Incredible. So get those bets in. We're going to be getting into the match soon. Have you guys started up the match yet? Oh, you've already started up the match? Why didn't you tell me? Did you drop the link in chat? I didn't see that. Sorry. Sorry. It's okay. We had to talk about this because it's the feature matchup of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Your final bets in. You've only got 5 seconds to get your bets in. We've got a... Ooh, I'm not saying it because that is a commentator's curse. If I ever seen one, I can't yell that out. That would just be atrocious to tell one coach over the other. Be like, yeah, by the way, no pressure. But you got yourselves a lot of fans tonight. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there we go. Wait, what? Let's get into the feature match of the week. Game number 1 between Golden State Greninjas on the close side. Icy Inishi, Ice Cold on the far side. Let's take a look at the teams. We see that Aerodactyl, we see that Flygon, we see that Empoleon. We've been looking at these Pokemon nonstop. No Venusaur today, though. Not feeling it. And then on the side, on the side of Icy Inishi, Ice Cold is bringing the Crab. He's also bringing the Hydreigon for the first time. Oh, he banned Venusaur. I'm silly. Right, thank you. Oh, we're not going to see it either way, so I'm right no matter what. Ha! Oh yeah, I've got the bans right in front of me. Haha, I knew that. Anyways, that Slowbro is going to be the thing to stare at because it's going to be able to take up a lot of things, but it will be Empoleon versus the Mesprit. Mesprit has been the Trick Room setter since the very beginning for Ice Cold. Now the question is, what will the Komala do? Komala, we found out, has a very diverse moveset, so we'll have to see. We know he's a spinner, we know he has some weird offensive moves, but there are a lot of things that Komala also brings that you wouldn't expect to see. That Game Freak, I guess, never did research on what a Koala actually is. And it is going to go for the bulk up, so he's going for the setup, but you know what? Actually, you know what? Komala cannot get burned because of the ability Comatose. It is always treated as if it is sleeping, so the +1's going to one-shot the... Whoa! One-shot Empoleon! That was especially defensive Empoleon I've ever seen one. That was a lot of damage. I don't even think World Leader saw coming. And he just goes back to sleep, and this is the way it goes. No, snooze button is Suicune, Anish. You put the name on the wrong Pokemon. But anyways, I don't think that damage was expected. But even then, you could ask why didn't World Leader switch into the Gliscor to check it? Because it is a physically offensive Pokemon. Maybe he thought he'd be able to go for it, but he can't burn the Komala, so it doesn't get anything done in this particular face-off. But hey, you know what? Ice Cold will take it. The Empoleon's down. That's been the thorn in people's sides for the past 2 weeks, trying to take that down because it's been carrying coverage. That's been stopping them from just wiping out everything else. Knockoff will happen. It will get rid of the leftovers, but the return is going to come out. +1 does so much damage. That's to a Gliscor, by the way. Just a neutral stab hit to a physically defensive monster like Gliscor. That's terrifying for Golden State Greninjas. Can't go for the... He does outspeed, though. That is a good thing to note. But with the +1 defense bonus, I don't think Earthquake takes it out, just based on the damage we saw from a base 130 knockoff. Earthquake at 150 is not going to do any more than 30%. And you don't want to be sacking off your defensive core this quickly, even though Ice Cold has pretty much identified that he can just start off and sweep. And this sometimes happens in Pokemon, where you are able to identify what's going to happen. He ends up going for the... He goes for the Earthquake. He's going to lose his Gliscor, but he will bring this down. And since it's not healing, there is no chance that, unless we can't see rest because he's always treated as sleeping. I don't think he can actually go for rest on Komala. Never thought about that. Flygon will come in. It will be faster. It will be able to take it out. U-turn might kill it? I don't know. I don't really know what Komala does. We're going to have to do some research into this Komala. But nonetheless, Golden State Greninja's down 6-4 already. Just take it out from the lead setup. But when you see this, that does mean that there is an inherent trait or an inherent opportunity where if you lead and you get the setup, you could do a lot of damage. And we've seen it before in the past in other seasons where it's just a Pokemon that can start in the beginning, and we see games end so early, but now we actually see the Outrage used from Flygon. It's going to be stuck in here. It's going to be doing that damage. The Ice Beam is here, and the Flygon is no longer with us. Oh, no, this is disastrous for the Golden State Greninjas. Because if he's looking at his team right now, he's got to save enough fuel in the tank to take out everything else. Yeah, he can bring these things low, but if everything's feeling safe, what is going to be left to do the damage and clean up the mess that World Leader's gotten himself into right now? But Aerodactyl, nonetheless, Mega Aerodactyl is still here, can put a lot of pressure down, has the stab, as it does it. The Pursuit Trap comes in! Ooh! There's the World Leader we're looking for. Actually kills off the Slowbro. Will not be getting that Regenerator heal. And that is a sneaky play for the Golden State. Ice Cold's going to have to note that for game number 2. But that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good. The fact that he doesn't have to worry about hitting something else. The curious thing is, I wonder what was switching in. It might have been the Dusknoir. I was just thinking Dusknoir would be a decent switch in with its bulk. But now the Mesprit, seeing that the Slowbro was taken out, will at least get the free switch in. But the Stealth Rock will ruin if this is anything that has the likes of the Focus Sash. But it is going to be leftovers. The Crunch does not take it out in time because our Trick Room is set up. And this is bad. If you look at the side of Golden State Greninjas, the only potentially slow Pokemon he's got is the Drampa. The Healing Wish comes out, which will avoid the pursuit. Well played by Ice Cold. And this Crabominal, unfortunately, is not going to get the heal, but it does get the free switch in. And he has 3 turns to go to town. No Pokemon wants to take the Ice Hammer from this thing. Destroyed for the side of Ice Cold. Golden State Greninjas are feeling a bit frosty, as they have to see, can they take an Ice Hammer for the Drampa? The answer is probably not. It's a big old fist flying down. The minus speed will mean that he will be slower, therefore faster in the Trick Room. Doesn't need room service when he cooks his own meals. Ice Cold is looking primed and ready to take game number 1 away for the Golden State Greninjas. Son, what is happening? No, I'm kidding. A miss comes through, though, and it could be disastrous for Ice Cold. Don't want to pull a Sweet D. You don't want to see that happen to someone who has the advantage and who could be taking points here just out of the fact that he has that opportunity to do so. And since both these guys are fighting for points, they are also featured matchup. 9 and 7 points between them. A 2-0 here would really propel them into that top 6 as fast as they can. Golden State Greninjas thinking out their play. I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy for Ice Cold here. Go for the cold attack. Golden State Greninjas didn't bring their sweater. And you know what? Doesn't even want to consider it as an option. Forfeits and just wants a rematch. Says, oh, let's try again in game number 2. But game 1 goes over to Ice Cold. And frankly, if you're checking the damage calcs yourself, it wasn't looking pretty. If that Crabominal gets Earthquake, nothing's living in that Trick Room. And you know, yeah. I already mentioned, sometimes this happens where there's just a matchup that you can't handle. And when that happens, you know, you have to just kind of sit there and go, well, what's left for me? Because if I'm just going to get swept, I might as well go back to the drawing board. So here's the problem, right? That answer to all those Pokemon would have to be trying to tank out the Trick Room. But the thing is, what does Golden State Greninjas have for that? He's not going to fall for that Komala again. Especially since he shouldn't have fallen for it from the beginning, considering we know it has Comatose that can't be burned. So if he's going to let a free setup like that happen again, he's got to have some kind of pivot here. Now, what can he answer with? That Pursuit Trap on the Aerodactyl is very nice for the Slowbro. It's not going to answer the Healing Wish. He now knows the damage that can be done to that Mesprit. The problem is, the Mesprit is going to get that Healing Wish off most times, especially set up in the Trick Room. That's what's genius about that particular moveset is, because it's slow, it's always going to have that, it's more times than not going to get that priority to be able to just have enough health to barely survive, go for Healing Wish, and bring the next Pokemon in for free. With the Trick Room up for 3 more turns. Or 2 more turns. No, it was 3 more turns. So it's kind of scary to think what the Golden State Greninjas can kind of theorize here, because, you know, on the podcast, we looked at it and we're like, every single Pokemon gets destroyed by Crabominable. Every single one. And because he can't bring Thick Fat Venusaur, You know, it doesn't matter that Ice Cold doesn't have his Mawile. He doesn't need it. He's got a big crab with a big hand and a big heart for Initiator because, you know, World Leader did not look like it received the good end of that Ice Hammer. But we'll see if World Leader... I mean, World Leader's got the creativity. He's got the theory planning. We've seen it before. I don't think it's over for him. I definitely think in game number 2 he could bring it back. I have faith. Especially since this was the matchup where we needed to see who's going to be walking away with a lot of points. Because if we go 1-1 here, World Leader stays on top. So the pressure is on him to do exactly that and stay like that. Will he play it out differently? Will he bring a different matchup this time and try and manage it? Or is Ice Cold just going to get that 2-0? You hope for something a little more exciting, but that's not battle music. This is battle music. There we go. Ice Cold nonetheless, with the advantage, with the team advantage, with the point advantage. Will he be taking 3 points after his 2-week-long break? Or will Golden State Greninjas upset the balance? Same team. So this means that World Leader says, I can play it differently and still take a win. Let's see if he's right about that. Because as it stands, Ice Cold can pretty much do the exact same thing. The Kamala was not easily managed, but it is going to be the Empoleon versus the Mesprit. Once again, we saw the Kamala come in because it knows it can't get toxic, it can't get burned. Feeling safe. Here we go, same old song and dance. Kamala comes in, Stealth Rock comes through. We've seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. We might even see the Earthquake come out right away, and he does indeed go for the Earthquake as the roar happens, mind-gamed by Initiator. Knows that there's something up if he's going to be doing this again. The bulk up doesn't make sense to take the damage, and he's just going to get the damage down on Empoleon. Well played by Inish. Switching up that strategy. Doesn't need to do the exact same thing. And here you go. This is even easier for Initiator because, like, screw it. I can just switch Mesprit, even have Ice Beam for the Gliscor, but it doesn't take it out. His knockoff will come through, but it's not doing enough damage. And, you know, as long as he keeps a Trick Room up for something, a Crabominable is going to get at least 1 to 2 kills if he wants to. Now, do you want to Healing Wish this early? Probably not, knowing that Mesprit can move faster and go for the Ice Beam and take out the Gliscor. Gotta worry about the Protect, though, so if you want to try and get as much value out of each Trick Room, you kind of have to make sacrifices. It is singles format Trick Room, so it is going to change up a little bit here. Empoleon's going to come out, try and stall it out, and he is going to succeed by being able to tank up that Psychic quite well. And, of course, you cannot reset Trick Room until it's gone. So if you keep wasting this time, yes, Initiator could try and get 1 turn of value out from that Crabominable, but Golden State Greninja's best strat right now is to keep this room locked up, because he does not want this happening. Now, what is going to be the play here? Initiator is going to make that switch to the Dusknoir, who is another Trick Room user. And we do see a Skull come out. A burn here would be kind of crappy. It doesn't happen, though. He takes a fair amount of damage. That doesn't look Assault Vest to me. It's going to be Choice Banded Dusknoir that could be whipping out an Ice Punch. That'll do a lot of damage. You got to check this Dusknoir. It does actually get a lot of different moves that it can run. But you also have to see what it's getting at. It's got 1 turn Trick Room, and most likely, if it's, I don't think it's Choice Banded because it could be Life Orb. And it feels like if he's switching this out, Initiator wants to set up another Trick Room or try and get Trick Room off, or at least try and take the Empoleon out if he's going to be having to sack off a poke. The Aerodactyl's going to come in. What about Thunder Punch, World Leader? Ooh, never mind. Doesn't expect his own strategy to be used against him. Well played by World Leader, but nonetheless, he does dodge that. Trick Room averted. Not too bad. Slowbro has to come in now. The Mega set up. The Crunch comes through. It's a lot of damage. The switch does it. He has to be careful. He probably has to go for the Crunch here just in case the... Actually, no. Pursuit works either way. So he can't Pursuit Trap, but if he doesn't switch out with the Slowbro, he might not get the kill with Pursuit. And I think the answer is no, especially if he Megas here, because he might be able to tank it and go from there. This might be a bait to try and get the Scald down or the Ice Beam from the Slowbro to try and get this Mega Aerodactyl low or dead. He is going to Mega. Can he tank the Crunch? The answer is yes, barely tanks it. The Trick Room is set up, and we repeat this again. He's got 4 turns to grab value. Knows the damage calc, finds it. The Pursuit was a trap. World Leader made a right call there to go for the Crunch, but we're going to have to see that damage calculation, because I don't know if he wanted that to happen. I don't know if Initiator saw that coming. But nonetheless, the Slack Off will come through. Steel feeling safe, but at the same time, Mega Slowbro is going to be able to tank it up, and you can't crit that Slowbro. The only thing you can do is lower its defense. Like that. So with that defense lowered, it will be doing about 51%, so he has to make the switch now. End of Mesprit. We see how much this damage took before. He's not going to get the Healing Wish. Did he not? He must have forgotten about the rocks because he knew the damage calcs before, where he could have barely lived. Took about 64%, I think, of the last match. But with rocks, he's going to bring it down. He does not get the likes of his Healing Wish. So that Mega Slowbro stays hurt until it can heal itself. Crabominable gets one free turn, though. And if this is the way Initiator's got to do it, he can move as slow as Ice does, where he can just very meticulously pick off Pokemon after Pokemon, and Empoleon is gonna be that first victim. Just kidding, as it tanks it way better than for some reason I didn't give it credit for. It is quad resisted, and that Ice Hammer plus that Life Orb doesn't feel too good against the shiny Penguin that's still alive. Flash Cannon comes out, and that's gonna be a ooh! Drain Punch is gonna heal up barely to live that Life Orb recoil. So Initiator still getting the value, does have the Crabominable, but until he gets rid of those rocks, potentially, I don't think he's got to spin on that bulk up Komala. Or unless he has Defog on the Hydreigon. You didn't want to see it, though. Empoleon did his job. It did a lot better this time than getting one shot by the Komala. So Golden State Greninja is feeling primed and ready here to take a point off of Ice Cold. The Pursuit is going to come out, so the Crabominable is gone, and that was the linchpin. Now, it's 5-4. Can Initiator find his next win condition? The Slowbro has been hurt. The Dustoar has been hurt. Those are your Trick Room setters. And then you have Hydreigon and Komala left over. You got to bulk up Komala and that Hydreigon, which has not shown its face yet. This is getting intense, ladies and gentlemen, as he needs to make it work. The Hydreigon is going to come in. This could denote Scarf since it's coming in on Aerodactyl. Can't risk that Draco. Something's going to have to tank the hit. And I mean, Initiator recognizes that on the side of the Golden State Greninjas, without that Empoleon, there's just so much free damage he can go for. So Draco just makes absolute great sense here. It's going to destroy something. And now it's on the onus of World Leader to figure out what's going to tank the hit, or unless it misses. I still feel like Drampa's not doing that much unless he's trying to save it for like Thunder Drampa. Never mind, his outspeeding gets crit. It's gone! It is gone. It gets no value. It is the night of RNG as the 12% happens. Never mind, Scarf be damned. That Hydreigon came with no accessories and will be tombed way before its time. And you don't want to see that if you're Ice Cold trying to take 3 points off a surging team like the Golden State Greninjas. You need to get ahead of these guys or you're potentially losing your chance at getting top 6 if you're not doing well in the rest of the weeks. I give Initiator faith, but you don't want to see that. Golden State wants to see anything that'll give him a point at this point. Get it? At this point, Anyways. Komala makes its way in. We know this little koala can take some damage, can deliver some damage back. If it's coming in, what does it have planned? It's got Earthquake, it's got Return, it's got Bulk Up. What's its last move? Does it have Ice Punch? This thing looks like Wood Hammer and Wish. This thing does everything. It doesn't matter. It's dead. Aerodactyl is just sticking rocks to everything. The Mega Slowbro comes in. It's not going to like the crunch. And it's not in Trick Room either, so it's just dead. And it's Dustoar versus the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Golden State Greninjas have found their in, and they will take Game 2. The night of 1-1s, the night of splitting the wealth. But he is going to keep himself afloat in that race for top 6. GG. When Crabominable runs free, it was free. When Crabominable doesn't run free, World Leader finds a way to play his comp differently and take that. Now the question is, if we had seen a little bit more knowledge out of the side of World Leader against Komala, I mean, you don't necessarily know what to expect from him. That's kind of the strategy. If you have a Pokemon, you're not practicing, you've never seen what this Pokemon does, it can most certainly catch you off guard. But I mean, you see a Trick Room, that's the essence of singles Trick Room, when you don't have a Pokemon that can just keep Trick Room up nonstop. Initiator tried his best, but once he loses those Trick Rooms, something like Mega Aerodactyl just runs over your team. It's inevitable because it's just got so much speed and power, and when you're taking so much damage, everything has to kind of pseudo-sacrifice itself to make it work. So, you know, a great call by the side of World Leader. Gabs' point doesn't fall too far behind. Let's put in those scores and see what the tournament looks like now with all those points gained. 1 second. See, my voice already hurts after 2 matches. That's it. That's all it took. We've only been live for an hour and a half. All right. What does this look like now? Oh, this will be great. At the end of week 5. Let's take a look at the scores. As Manchester United still sitting at the top there with 15 points. Traverse City Thunder is second place with 14 points. Fortnite Ninjas and I Am Groot sharing a car seat with 12 points apiece. Lunar Cresselias and Golden State Greninjas sharing that 5th seat, with Ice Cold at 8 tied with Las Vegas Golden Lucarios. And with Todd Skyrim bowing out, now the pressure is on for everybody to scramble for that last seed. Like Ice Cold, everybody stands a chance to beat everybody out of here at these points. Manchester Manectric still feeling pretty healthy. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to keep grabbing points for the rest of the weeks to make it work for him. Let's take a look at week 6 matches, though, because there actually are a lot of matches. We don't have to do any reorganization. We're going to see all 8 of our coaches next week. Amen. Hallelujah. Let's go with it. I'm going to scroll this up a little bit here. But it will be the Golden State Ninjas versus the Fortnite Ninjas. I Am Groot versus Ice Cold. Lunar Cresselias versus Las Vegas Golden Lucarios. And on the far side of the screen you can't see, Manchester Manectric versus Traverse City Thunder. It's the battle of 1st and 2nd place in Season 5. You'll have to tune in next week to see how that's going to buy out, because it's going to be a super week. I guess we have to call it a super week now. But these are people who are literally trying to grab all the points. Lunar Cresselias have to defend their 5th seed. Las Vegas Golden Lucario trying to steal that seed. I Am Groot defending 4th place. Sorry, 3rd place. Ice Cold looking to get to 4th place. Golden State Ninjas doing well, but can they do well against the likes of our reigning previous champion in Season 4, the Fortnite Ninjas of Coach Mitchie W. That's going to be the end for tonight. Nice, short, easy stream. Good for my voice, because I'm super feeling it. But thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. Let's take a look at who's going to be winning New Bits, by the way. And the answer is nobody is going to be winning New Bits. No, not that one. It's this one. Aha. Everybody losing all of their New Bits for the night. No big deal, it happens. It just means you have to be more of a psychic type. Do some more analysis. Myself and Amagamon on the Pro Poke Podcast. Pro Poke Podcast episode number 8 will be coming out sometime before next week. We'll see you next week, week 6, August 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time start. You've been watching the Pro Pokeball. Thank you very much for coming out. Let's go find somebody to host. If you've been loving this action, make sure you tell your friends, tell your family, tell your social media followers. Twitch.tv/ProPokeDB is the place to be Wednesday nights for your Fight Club action. Fight Club action? Yeah, sure, what the hell. What do we got? I don't have any Pokemon going on right now on my list. Hey, Fantasy, good to see you. By the way, for everyone who hosted, for everyone who for everyone who hosted, everyone who rated, thank you very much for your hosts and your raids. The more you can spread the word, the better it is. Let's go host Sunflows. Sunflows is a super positive guy. Let's just have fun with a bunch of variety games. He's currently playing Super Mario Maker 2, so if you want to get some of your high platform octane action going on, I don't know why I use high octane. I don't even know what high octane means. High octane. I-octane? Oh boy. It's roll-lowing all over again. Either way, we'll see you guys Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time for some more speedrunning action, as well as potentially starting a new ROM. Not a new run, new ROM. We'll see you then, guys. Take care. Have a great night. Those messages will be going out tonight for all Pro Pokeball coaches, and we'll try and figure out what the schedule's going to look like past week 6. Till then, take care. Peace. Go drop by and say hi to Sunflows.